Okay guys, now we're going to talk about acid nomenclature, or how to name acids or write acid formulas. The traditional definition of an acid is a compound that breaks off into hydronium or hydrogen ions when dissolved in water. And that is H+ when dissolved in water. We have rules here when we name acids. If the anion, remember the anion is the negatively charged ion. If it ends in IDE, we are going to start it out with hydro and then put the name, take the IDE off and then put ic. And then we put acid. If the anion ends in ATE, then we are going to take the name and change the ending to ic and then put acid. If the anion ends in ITE, we are going to put the name of it, change the ITE to OUS, and put acid. Okay, a way you can remember this, because this is hard to remember, I know. You're not used to it. Okay, a good way to remember this is I ate something icky, all night I was nauseous, when I took a ride on a hydraulic plane. So if you notice here, ate and ic go together. So if it ends in ate, you're going to change the ending to ic. All night I was nauseous. If it ends in ite, you are going to change it to OUS, the ending to OUS. When I took a ride on a hydraulic plane, so it ends in ide, right up here, you are going to change the beginning to hydro. I know this is hydra, but you're going to change it to hydro. And the ending to ic, hydro, ic. Okay, and then you end everything in acid. So let's go through some examples. Formula is HNO3. This AQ stands for aqueous, which means it is dissolved in water. So the first thing we need to do is find out what our anion name is. Now remember, our anion is the negatively charged piece of it, okay, which is going to be NO3 because the H has a positive charge. NO3 is a polyatomic. We know that because it has more than one atom. So we're going to look under our polyatomic ions. NO3, let's go down here, and it is right here, NO3. And that is nitrate. So our anion name is nitrate. Nitrate, nitrate. Now remember the saying, if I ate something icky, ate, ick, it's going to, our ate will change to ick, which means we're going to get rid of our ate and we're going to change it to ick, and then we add acid. So our acid name would be nitric, and then we add acid. So HNO3 is the same thing as nitric acid. Next example, HF. Remember, it's aqueous, which means it's dissolved in water. So we're going to take everything that's after the H, our anion, which is the F. So our anion name would be fluoride because F stands for fluorine, and when it changes to an ion, it changes, the INE changes to IDE, so it's fluoride. Now if you remember our saying, I took a ride on a hydraulic plane. So hydro, ic. So ide changes to hydroic. So we are going to change the IDE to ic, and then we're going to put hydro on front of it. So hydro, fluoric. And then don't forget, it's an acid. We know it's an acid because it begins with the letter H, so we're going to write acid. Okay, next example. We need to change this to PO4. It is not a 3. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this and we need to name it. We know it's an acid because it starts with a hydrogen. Anything that starts with a hydrogen is an acid. Now we need to find out our anion name. Our anion is everything that is after the H. So everything that's after the H is the PO4. PO4 we know is a polyatomic because there's more than one atom. So we're going to look under our polyatomic ions under PO4. Right here is PO4, and it is called phosphate. So our anion name is phosphate. All right, now if you remember, we need to name our acid. I ate something icky. So ate will change to ick. I ate something icky. So we're going to change that ate right there to an ick. And we're going to say and it's 4-ick because phosphorus and sulfur, we have to add the OR back on and the UR. So phosphorus, we're not going to put phosphic. We have to add our OR back on. So it's phosphor, then we change it to ick. So it's phosphoric, and then we name our acid, add our acid. So H3PO4 is phosphoric acid. Okay, now we're going to go backwards. We're going to give you the name, the acid name, and you need to write the acid formula. So we have nitrous acid here. It ends in OUS, so we need to find out what we're going to change that ending to. Find out what the anion name is. So all night I was nauseous. That works. So we have ite and OUS. So we're going to change the OUS to ITE, and that is nitrite. So our anion name is nitrite. Now we need to find out our anion formula. And since it is ITE, we need to look on our polyatomic ions for nitrite. So if you look down here, nitrite is NO2 with a -1 charge. So our anion formula is NO2, and I would prefer you guys to go ahead and put parentheses around it with a -1 charge. Okay, now we need to write the acid formula. And since it is an acid, we know that it starts with H. So I'm going to put H+. And then I'm going to put the anion, which is NO2-. Now this is a lot like an ionic compound, and if you remember, because they have charges, and if you remember, we have to crisscross. So we're going to take this 1 charge and we're going to put it down by the hydrogen. We never put 1s, so I'm just going to leave it as an H. This 1 goes down by the NO2. And since there's only 1, I do not have to put parentheses here, so I'm just going to write NO2. So the formula for nitrous acid is HNO2. Next example, hydrobromic acid. So we know it's an acid. So we're going to look at our name, hydro. It starts with hydro and it ends with ick. All night I was nauseous. I ate something icky. That doesn't work. I took a ride on a hydraulic plane. Hydraulic, hydro-ick, and it's "-ide". So I took a ride on a hydraulic plane. Okay, so "-ide" goes to hydro and ick, or hydro and ick will go to "-ide". So we need to take out our hydro, change our ick to IDE, and that will be our anion name. So it would be bromide is our anion name. Now our anion formula. Bromide, it ends in IDE, so it is found on the periodic table. So we're going to change this ending to INE, so that's bromine. Well, bromine is in group 17, which means it has 7 valence shell electrons. It is easier to gain 1 electron than lose 7. Gain 1, that's its oxidation number, -1. Gaining, because it's gaining an electron, electrons are negative, gaining negativity, so it's a -1. Okay, now our acid formula. We know it's an acid because it says acid right here, and all acids start with H+. So I'm going to put an H+ here, and then I'm going to add my anion formula, which is Br minus. This one goes down by the H, and we never put ones. This one goes down by the bromine, and we never put ones. So our formula for hydrobromic acid is simply HBr. Last example, acetic acid. It's an acid, so we know it's going to start with H+. I'm just going to go ahead and put that over here. Acetic, ick. It ends in ick. We're going to go through our things. I ate something icky. All night I was nauseous. I took a ride on a hydraulic plane. Ate and ick. We have an ick here, so I ate something icky. So our ick is going to change to 8. So let's cross this out and put 8. Acetate. That's our anion name, acetate. It ends in ATE, which means we are going to find it on our polyatomic. So acetate is right up here. And there are 2 choices that we have here. You can choose either one. I'm going to choose this first one right here, C2H3O2 minus, because if you notice they're the same. This O, these 2 oxygens right here, it's an O2. Now I'm going to put these in parentheses because that's what I want you guys to do. This is our anion formula. We already know it's an acid because it says acid right here, so we add an H+, and now I'm going to put my anion, which is C2H3O2 and a minus. Okay, now we got to crisscross because we have charges involved here. That one goes down by the H, but we never put ones. This one goes down by the acetate, but we never put ones, so we do not have to put parentheses here. So I'm going to put C2H3O2 is the formula for acetic acid.